A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, 2026. Calendar by George R.R. Martin. Close your eyes and imagine a land where the wind howls across misty moors, where castles rise like jagged teeth against a gray sky, and where knights, both noble and humble, wander with sword and shield in search of glory, honor, and sometimes just a warm meal. This is Westeros, not as you first met it in Game of Thrones, but 90 years earlier when the great houses were younger, when dragons were only ghosts in memory, and when a hedge knight named Ser Duncan the Tall rode the roads with his squire. An unlikely boy with a shaved head and a secret that would one day shake the Seven Kingdoms. Welcome, traveler, to A Night of the Seven Kingdoms 2026 calendar, where award-winning artist Tom Kidd paints the realms of Westeros and Essos with breathtaking majesty. Month by month, we will journey together, following Dunk and Egg's footsteps, wandering through castles, villages, and untamed wilderness. Just art, but a story, a whisper of adventure, and the echoes of history. So sharpen your sword, tighten your cloak, and let's turn the first page. January, the Hedge Knight's Road. The year begins not with a castle or a crown, but with the open road. Tom Kidd captures the spirit of wandering as Dunk and Egg ride down a dusty track beneath towering oaks, their cloaks snapping in the winter wind. The Hedge Knight is massive in the saddle, his helm plain, his armor dented but serviceable. Behind him, Egg rides light and small, his curious eyes wide, always watching. This image sets the tone for the calendar. The journey is as important as the destination. Dunk, though knighted in name, is still forging his honor. Egg, bald head glinting under the pale sun, hides his secret. He is Aegon Targaryen of dragon's blood. But here, he is just a boy, a squire, learning what the world truly is. January reminds us, greatness often begins in humble steps on a lonely road with nothing but hope, grit, and the will to keep writing. February, Ashford Meadow. As winter softens, the calendar brings us to a grand tourney field. Ashford Meadow sprawls before us, banners snapping in the crisp air. Kidd paints a sea of tents, bright as jewels, stitched with lions, stags, roses, and krakens. Knights polish their armor, squires run errands, and hawkers shout of meat pies and mead. Here is where Dunk first tested his mettle against true knights of Westeros. We see the tilt yard alive with energy, horses thundering, lances shattering. Somewhere in the crowd stands Egg, clutching Dunk's helm, eyes burning with pride and fear. This scene is not just about sport. It is about the measure of honor. Dunk, a hedge knight of no renown, challenges those far above him. February's art reminds us that courage often means stepping into the lists when no one believes you belong there. March, the inn at the crossroads. March takes us off the field and into the beating heart of Westeros, its inns and crossroads. Kidd paints the warmth of firelight spilling from timbered walls, a place where travelers of every sort gather, knights, peasants, and merchants alike. Dunk and Egg have eaten many meals in places like this, often scraping together coins for bread, stew, and a spot of ale. Behind the laughter and music, though, lies intrigue. An inn is a place of whispers, rebellions planned, kings discussed, alliances forged in shadow. The March illustration is a reminder that not all battles are fought with swords. Some are waged with words, and the fate of kingdoms may turn on a conversation overheard beside a hearth. April, The Blackfyre shadow spring arrives, and Kid darkens the page with a brooding image, a knight bearing the sword Blackfyre, that fabled blade once wielded by Aegon the Conqueror himself. Around him, shadows gather. Though Dunk and Egg live in a quieter age, rebellion simmers beneath the surface. The Blackfyres, bastard sons with dragon's blood, challenge the Targaryens for the throne. Egg, sworn never to reveal who he truly is, must listen in silence as whispers of treason coil through the land. The April artwork is a reminder that history weighs heavy on the living. Every hedge knight, every lord, every small folk walks in the shadow of crowns and swords. May. A castle on the hill. Now the calendar brightens. May blooms with a magnificent castle rising above green fields and glittering rivers. Kid paints stone walls gleaming in sunlight, banners flying high. Is it Highgarden? Casterly Rock? Perhaps Summerhall, that doomed Targaryen retreat where Egg's family often gathered. The beauty of Kid's art is that it leaves space for our imagination. For Dunk, such castles are both aspiration and reminder. He is sworn to honor knights, yet he sleeps beneath hedges, far from the gilded halls of power. Egg, however, sees more. To him, these are not just castles. They are home, destiny, and burden. May reminds us, what seems a dream to one man may be duty to another. June. River crossing. Summer arrives, and we find Dunk and Egg fording a river, their reflections shimmering in the water. Kid paints the horses straining against the current, Dunk gripping reins with steady hands, Egg clinging tight behind him. This is the life of a hedge knight. No grand caravan, no fanfare, just the endless road, rivers, mud, and rain. Yet there is beauty here. The silver water, the wide sky, the freedom of not being bound to a single lord. June whispers to us, sometimes the greatest adventures lie between destinations. July. Trial by combat. July burns hot with steel. The calendar shows two knights locked in trial by combat, swords raised, sunlight flashing on their blades. Dunk looms tall, his size a weapon in itself. His opponent, smaller but fierce, lunges with speed. Tom Kidd captures the sweat, the strain, the raw clash of iron. Around them, lords and ladies watch with sharp eyes. For this duel is no sport. It is judgment. In Westeros, gods speak through the outcome of combat. For Dunk, trial by combat is both a curse and a chance. He may lack noble birth, but in battle, his heart and strength can prove his worth. July reminds us that truth is sometimes decided not in courts, but in the ring of steel. August. The reach in bloom. As summer ripens, Kid gives us rolling fields of gold and green, dotted with villages and vineyards. The reach, fertile heart of Westeros, stretches endlessly under a warm sky. Here, Dunk and Egg find both kindness and cruelty. The peasants welcome travelers with bread and salt, yet lords still weigh their worth in coin and bloodlines. Egg, though of royal blood, learns humility by breaking bread with common folk. August's art reminds us that true nobility is not born of titles, but of how one treats those who have little. September. Storm over Summerhall. September darkens with foreboding. Kid paints Summerhall under storm clouds, lightning lashing its towers. This Targaryen retreat, beautiful yet doomed, looms heavily in Egg's story. Though the great tragedy of Summerhall lies years ahead, the storm hints at fate's cruel hand. Egg gazes at Summerhall as both prince and boy, torn between the innocence of play and the shadow of destiny. Dunk, meanwhile, feels the weight of responsibility, for though he knows nothing of prophecy, he knows the duty of protecting the boy who will one day be king. September whispers of storms yet to come, storms that no sword can turn aside. October, across the narrow sea. October carries us beyond Westeros. Kid paints Essos, vast plains, strange cities, ships rocking on bright blue waters. Dunk and Egg never linger long across the narrow sea, yet their journey touches this wider world. Home to the free cities, the Dothraki, and countless wonders. The painting reminds us that Westeros, for all its grandeur, is but one corner of Martin's world. For Dunk and Egg, every glimpse across the sea is a reminder night may be. November. Campfire under the stars as the year wanes, Kid paints quiet intimacy. Dunk and Egg beside a campfire, the flames flickering against their faces. The stars spread vast above them, cold and eternal. Here, no lords watch, no banners fly. It is simply knight and squire, sharing bread, telling stories, dreaming of tomorrow. Dunk, though rough and plain-spoken, becomes a teacher. Egg, though royal, becomes a boy again. November's art is perhaps the truest spirit of a knight of the Seven Kingdoms. That friendship and loyalty, not crowns or castles, are the heart of every tale. December, winter's shadow. The year closes with winter. Kid paints snow falling across ruined battlements, icicles hanging from broken stone. Dunk stands wrapped in his cloak, Egg close beside him. The image is stark, somber, yet beautiful. For though Dunk and Egg walk in a time of relative peace, the North always whispers of winter. Beyond the wall, old powers stir. Dunk nor Egg will live to see it. We, the audience, know winter is coming. December's art reminds us that every tale is but one thread in a vast tapestry. The Knight and the Egg. And then at last, we unfold the 13th image, the bonus poster. Here, Kid gives us Dunk and Egg in their truest form. Knight and squire, side by side on the open road, the world sprawling before them. Dunk, towering and strong, is armored not in gold, but in honor. Egg, small yet fierce, carries a secret destiny in his heart. Together, they embody the soul of George R.R. Martin's tales, the unlikely bond that shapes history. This final painting is not just art, it is a promise. Though Dunk and Egg's tales are smaller than those of dragons and wars, they matter. They remind us that history is built not only by kings, but by the friendships that carry us through it. And so our journey through the A Night of the Seven Kingdoms 2026 calendar ends. Month by month, Tom Kidd's art has carried us across meadows and mountains, through storms and trials, across rivers and seas. We have seen Westeros not through the eyes of kings, but through a hedge knight and his squire. Ordinary souls caught in extraordinary times. 90 years before Game of Thrones, the seeds of the great saga were already sown. But in these pages, we remember that the heart of every legend begins simply. A knight on the road, a boy at his side, and a story waiting to be told. So, when you hang this calendar on your wall, don't just mark the passing days. Remember the road, the castles, the whispers of history. Remember Dunk and Egg, wandering still across the kingdoms of our imagination. For in the Seven Kingdoms, every dawn brings a new tale, and the adventure has only just begun.